Hello Tubesters, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. This is a catch-up on the Airfix 54mm figure. Can we reach the box, Gav, or at least the lid, in case you've forgotten. I'm about to start work this afternoon on the A37 1-in-72 Super Tweak build that I'm also doing as a dedication to my married Gary over at Gary's Stuff. So I'm going to be starting that this afternoon. But before I start getting into the painting side of the 54mm figure, I just thought I'd quickly just show it under camera. It's just grey primer, but I just wanted to go over a couple of things, what I have done and what I haven't done for different reasons. So if you'd like to join me at the bench, we'll have I'll say quick, don't I? We'll have a look at the Airfix figure. As I say, it's still going on. I've just been sticking bits on in the background. Got primered a couple of days ago, and hopefully I shall start work painting him pretty soon. Also the flat figure, which I'm not going to bring over now because he's almost done. I've just got the face and a couple of bits on the flat 54mm figure, and I've got another one coming in. Same, I would imagine, same. It's a different pose, but it's the same huzzah, if that makes sense. And I'm not going to paint him any time at the moment. I've got a fair bit on, but I will do that as a different, different huzzah regiment at some stage. But we'll take a look at that when he comes in, because I've also got a couple more flats coming in. Don't tell the wife. Anyway, we'll see. We'll check those out when they do come in. So let's go down the bench and take a look. Right guys, thanks for joining me at the bench. It's a bit lighter than the grey is a bit lighter than it shows under the lights. I've just got an extra light up for the modelling build I'll be doing this afternoon. I don't know how much more I'd put on. I'd definitely put the bit on here. Let's actually try and get that. Here we go. Pointy stick, Gav. I'm going to have to use a sharp edge, so let's just hope we don't catch anything. So I've done that. I moulded some teeth. He looks like Bob from On the Buses. Oh well, you know, they're teeth. Maybe they will look slightly better under some paint. I doubt it, but I might just give him another little rub down, maybe, just but anyway, he didn't have any teeth. It was just a big gap, so I thought, well, I'll put some teeth in. If you've never seen On the Buses, it was a British 1970s comedy, a bus driver and his conductor. Right, I'll put this on. I couldn't really. It would have been better making some more stitches, but the one thing is with this material, this very light plaster styrene sheet, whatever you want to call it, plasticard as we'd call it in the UK a lot of the time. I've been using the Tamiya glue, the hot, not the very hot one, but the next one down, the thin Tamiya thin, whatever it's called, and it will melt the ends of this material off quite easy, so you've got to be delicate with it, but at the same time you need it to fuse, so it's not particularly, it doesn't look particularly great. But if I do a second one of these, well, a second mounted Airfix figure at some stage, I'll try and work that out a bit better. But yeah, you get this here. I don't want to play around with it too much, but that's fairly loose. Now I can't put I'll show you the figure and the shabriquet and that in a minute. That's the blanket and the saddle. There's a bit more to go on here yet, but I can't do it until the figure's mounted, so you'll have more strapping going on here, and it goes up to the shabriquet. But because I'm doing the shabriquet separately, because I need to paint the underside of it, I'll be a bit stuck really of getting it. It'll be floating in thin air, so I've left it off for now. I understand that I'm going to get some glue damage on the paintwork. I'm just going to have to suck that up and crack on with it. But yeah, so that's horse-wise. I don't think there's anything more. I mean, the seam, I don't think the seam's too bad for one of Gav's seams. I wish I could do airplane seams as good. I don't think that's too bad. Yes, I mean obviously there's the tack, the harness work does cover a lot of that up anyway, but yeah, it's not too bad. It's a bit tiny bit messy around where the filler is, but I can live with that. I don't the feathers over the I call them feathers. It's just what we call in the gun dog world that I used to belong to. You know, we call them feathers over a dog's paws, so I can't see why there wouldn't be feathers on this. But yeah, I've obviously put those on. I did it purposely on the back, a bit mucky, because I wanted it to. They often come up the back as well. I don't think it's so. It is probably a bit, especially on this one, it's a bit heavy, but it is what it is now. We've crossed the Rubicon, as they say, and we're not going back. So the Chabriquet, I put a bit of fill around and made of extra bit because it was just blank there. So I've made some piping work around that. Again, it's not brilliant, but I don't do a lot of that stuff, so it's just getting practicing really. But as I say, because I want to be doing underneath here, painting underneath because it flies up, I couldn't stick it down, if that makes sense, because I was just getting the right mess trying to. It's not a War Games figure that's really tiny, you know. There's a lot of it's going to be seen if you mess the paint up. So that's our guy there. Here's our figure himself. I've tried to do it with a bit of movement, you know, like it's. I mean, they have done it that way anyway, but I've tried to. It was a bit hard positioning it round, like this guy here with the epaulette. I've just added a tiny bit of filler in underneath, and then made a couple of extra strands, just because you were seeing straight through. And that, to be honest with you, if that's flying up and down as the rider's in motion, I mean, it probably would do that, but it was just looked a bit wrong to me, so I've just put a bit of filler in there. The piping here on his back, that goes actually down the arm, but it was so thick, it doesn't look particularly out as too bad on the back, but it was really thick down the arm, so I just cleared it off and I'm just going to paint it on. I think with a bit of paint shadowing, it should look okay. The cartouche box, I think I can't remember if I said it or not. They show it twists into a clasp. I couldn't really do that. It was getting really finicky and falling apart. So in the end, I just ended up gluing it. I glued the cartouche box to his back first at an angle out, but enough to hold it, and then I put the actual strap into it, because the way they want you to do it is literally just have it hanging off the straps, and you'll have a right game trying to paint the figure. It's just going to keep falling off in my opinion. So I glued it so it looks like it's in motion, if that makes sense. The rest of it's not actually attached to him. So I've done that. There's much else I need to tell you on that. This guy here, I had to keep dry fitting him on the horse to make sure that everything was in place, if that makes sense. It wasn't going to get in the way of the saddle and stuff. But again, the way they do it, I think they more or less want you just to glue these flimsy bits on and it'll just be all nice and loose. Well, that's never going to work, again, in my opinion. So I glued it to the bayonet. He actually has a bayonet as well. I glued it to the on top of the bayonet first and let it go off, and then I attached the stuff to the belt. And as you can see, it's probably burnt off some under the glue there, so I might have to add a bit more on. We'll see how it looks. The buckle is a bit soft, it's not particularly well detailed, but not much I can do about that. But yeah, he's ready to go. Again, the reins, because I'm doing everything separately, I couldn't get the reins in the position and they'd only get in the way while painting. So I'm going to have to just suck it up and say, well look, the glue's going to remove some paint here and there, and I'm just going to have to touch it up. So, and that's what I'll do. I put the not spurs, are they? Stirrups is the word I'm after. They're spurs. They would normally, by the way, screw into the back of the heel. Just as a side, I will put the stirrup. I put the stirrups on personally. Again, they more or less, if you follow the instructions, I think they just want you to get the leather work, the tack, the straps, whatever you want to call them, and then just literally slot them over his feet. And I thought, oh no, he's got to look one like he's standing in the stirrups slightly anyway, because he is off the saddle, and I believe that's meant to be. And if he was doing it for real, he would be off the saddle. He's not going to be sat in it, in the pose that it's in. So yeah, I stuck those down, and I will, when I've got it all done, there's more strapping to go up there onto the horse, which attaches. Just put them down gently so nothing falls off. Attaches to here. Again, they're not loose, so you'll just have to. These were already moulded on, but that's where the main strapping's left. So we've got we've got the reins, and we'll have at least 2 bits of extra bits I've got to do coming down. One under the horse, and another one of either side of the stirrups. So that's that. Did I do the? All I haven't done is I've left his carbine off. Where's that damn carbine now? That's a bit tricky. Sorry, I'm just searching in the little box to fish it out. As you can see, I've glued a piece of the plaster card on because of where it wants you to go. You'll never do it otherwise. So it's better to do that. And let's just see. It will go somewhere up there. There's another piece that comes down off this clasp. Oh, sorry guys, off this clasp here there's another piece you'll have to attach, and it goes to roughly about there, something like that. And I just thought, well, let's paint him first, because that's just going to get in the way again. So again, we've got to work. There's probably going to be a bit of glue damage. Now I was going to keep this. I don't know, I saw somebody else's that they'd done, and this was like drooped down like that. Now mine that's not too bad. I've thinned that out as much as I could. Then I put a bit of putty on, just to give it, because where I'd thinned it out it was just all smooth, so I put a bit of putty on to make it a bit wrinkled, as you can see there. I don't know if that really worked really. It just looks like a bit of thick putty now, doesn't it? But that was the intention. I'm probably going to have to snip this off, because it won't go anywhere near his hand, so I'm probably going to have to snip a gap in there and place it round and re-glue it. But as you can see, that's a bit, I've got a feeling I'm going to have to bite the bullet, and once I've painted him all up, before I actually mess around, I might actually cut this piece off and try and drill it. I've got bits of wire, different types of wire, and I might just, because yeah, I'm probably going to have to, because that's just drooping, isn't it? Yeah, and then I'll just have to make something up for that as well. So that might end up being a piece of wire with this. I don't even have to use this after all the work I put into it. I could just keep well, it's not a finial, is it? This is actually supposed to kill somebody, but the pointy bit, I might have to keep that. I don't know. We'll see. I think a bit of experiment. That'll be probably one of the last things with the carbine, but it's probably going to take a bit of work, so it might slow me down a bit. But there you go. That's what we've got. So you should see. I'll start painting the horse when I'm ready to paint the horse, which will be whenever. What I've got on this week, but it will start. But I want to get the flat finished first. I want something done. So the flat figure will carry on in the background, and you'll get a look at that reveal. But I've got to make a base for that yet and paint that as well, so that might actually be another week or so away. But he'll be up next, definitely. I say it's been really enjoyable. I've really enjoyed that. I've had to do the usual bit of, all it is a large scale paper clip that's been opened up, which I use for, sometimes I cut them off and then put them in my cork bungs, and I might still do that with this guy. This was just where I was actually holding him to spray. Bit of super glue in there. Super glue, as we all know, breaks off really easy. Just twist it round and it comes out. And the hole is not seen. When I drilled the hole, I checked when I put it on the thing, and you don't even have to fill that up. So, and there's a slight one. Is there a slight one still there? Could be one still in his thigh somewhere, right up near the top, which was a sink mark, but that's not shown either. Oh, there it is. Yeah, sorry for keep sniffing, bunged up nose. That's it. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. You know, it's nothing like seeing plain primered figures for starting your day off. But anyway, it's a start. We're getting there. So I'll check in on if you're just following this one along. There will be an update probably in a week or so, and you will see a painted horse. That's a start. I did think of using my airbrush on him. I still might. I don't know. I just might treat him as I would do any other horse and just paint it with a brush. I'm in no major rush, you know what I mean? It's doesn't bother me how long it takes. And I must admit, I do prefer brush painting figures anyway. Right, there you go. Look after yourselves. I shall take a quick break now, and I will then kick off the A37 build. So if you're interested in model aircraft, that will be coming up as a, I'm going to attempt to build it under the camera, on the, you know, obviously with everything rigged up. I will probably do that. I'm going to see what progress I make today on it, but I will probably do that in sections. You know, stick a video up rather than do a complete build and condense it, because it's the editing. You know, guys like Gary and that, I'm not saying they love the editing, but it's all part of their, you know, that these guys, it's a way they make a living, I suppose. You know, it's and they enjoy all that, and I'm in it for painting figures and doing my models. I'm not in it for, I need the money, don't get me wrong, but I'm not in it for sitting here spending a day editing a single video, you know, because that's a day I'm not painting figures to sell or commission. I'm not doing my own stuff, you know. I love the interaction on YouTube, but I don't like it that much that I'm spending you know, my whole time editing videos, which is what I don't do. So you got to just take it as you find it, really, with me. So look after yourselves. I'm waffling off at a tangent again. Take care of yourselves, and we will catch each other very soon on another video.